Hey guys, I am the nurse Dr. Asia, and today we will be doing critical care dosage calculations. So let's get started. So the question says a continuous infusion of cardamom at 15 milligrams per hour is received for a patient with atrial fibrillation. Pharmacy delivers the medication in 100 milligrams per ml concentration. So the question is, how many mLs per hour will the nurse administer? So I always like to write on the board what my answer needs to end in. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with what the medication is currently going at. So I'm going to put 15 milligrams per hour. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my problem to get more information. So I know that milligrams need to cancel out because my answer needs to be in milliliters. So let's go back to our problem. So our problem says that there are 100 milligrams per 100 mLs. So we are able to cancel out because milligrams is on the top, milligrams is on the bottom. So we wouldn't have been able to cancel out like if the milligrams was up here. So that's a good way to remember it. So in order to cancel out, cancel out means just to get rid of that unit, a measure that you don't need and get to go where you need to go, it has to cancel out. So milligrams cancel out. So now we're left with mLs per hour. Is that what we want to be in? Yes, that's what we want to be in. So all we have to do is do 15 times 100. Which would give us 1,500. And then straight across the bottom, 1 times 100, which would give us 100. And then we would do 1,500 divided by 100. And that will give us 15 mLs per hour. A patient is admitted with a stroke. The blood pressure is 210 over 110. The nurse practitioner orders a continuous infusion of nicardipine at 5 mgs per hour. This medication is available in 20 mgs per 200 ml concentration. So the question is, how many mLs per hour will the nurse infuse? So we already have written on the board what our answer needs to end in. It needs to end in mLs per hour. So let's start with what the infusion is currently going at. So it's currently going at 5 milligrams per hour. So we literally just write that out, 5 milligrams per hour. So we know that milligrams need to go because our answer needs to be in milliliters. So let's go to the problem. The problem says that we have 20 milligrams per 200 mLs. So 20 milligrams, that's going to go on the bottom because remember, in order to cancel out, it has to be on the top and it has to be on the bottom. And then it's 20 milligrams per 200 mLs. So milligrams is going to be canceled out and we're going to be left with mLs per hour. And that matches that. So we're going to multiply straight across. So if we do 200 times 5, that's going to give us 1,000. And if we do 1 times 20, that's going to just give us 20. So 1,000 divided by 20, that's going to give us 50 mLs per hour. It says a patient has, whatever this medicine is called, 2 mcgs per minute order by continuous infusion. This medication is available in 1 milligram per 500 mLs concentration. So it says calculate the mLs per hour needed to administer this medication. So we're going to go ahead and write down what our answer needs to end in, and that's mLs per hour. All right, so let's start with what the medication is currently going at. So the medication is currently going at 2 mcg a minute, okay? All right, so our answer that we have available is in milligrams. So we know that we have to do a little conversion. So we got to get from mcgs to mgs. So we know that there are 1,000 mcgs in 1 milligram. So mcgs cancel out and we're left with milligram per minute, but we don't need to be in milligrams per minute. So we know that we got to keep on going. All right, now we're able to cancel out our mg's because we now have it up here. So we know that the problem says there's 1 milligram for 500 mLs. So our mg's cancel out and we're left with mLs per minute, but our answer needs to be in mLs per hour. So we're gonna go back to that hour that's down here, and we need to make sure that the hour is up here. So, I'm sorry, we're gonna go back. So we're gonna go back to the minutes that's right here, and we need to make sure minutes is up here. So we got 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So our minutes are gonna cancel out, and we're gonna multiply straight across. Multiply straight across. So we're gonna do 2 times 500 times 60. And that's gonna get us 60,000. And then we have just 1,000 on the bottom. So we got 60,000 divided by just 1,000. And we're gonna get 60 mLs per hour. So the question says a patient is admitted with heart failure. The nurse is preparing the ordered continuous infusion of nitroglycerin at 20 mcgs per minute. The nitroglycerin is ordered in 50 milligrams per 250 ml concentration. So the question says, how many mLs per hour will the nurse infuse the medication? So what I like to do, I like to just go ahead and write down what my answer needs to end in. So our answer needs to be in mLs per hour. So let's go ahead and start with what is currently ordered or what is currently running. So we're going to go ahead and start with 20 mcgs per minute. All right, so you know we're going to have to cancel out mcgs because our answer needs to be in mLs. All right, so we know that there is 1,000 mcgs in a milligram. So mcgs cancel out and we're left with milligrams. Now we can go back to our problem to get our milligrams. So the problem says that there is 50 milligrams per 250 mLs. So how do we know what needs to go on the top, what needs to go on the bottom? So in order for it to cancel out, meaning to get rid of that unit, it needs to be on the top and it needs to be on the bottom. So that's how they're able to cancel out. If they were side by side up here, we would know that we're in the wrong and we need to flip them. All right, so we're now left with mLs per minute, but our answer needs to be in mLs per hour. So if minutes is on the bottom here, minutes need to be on the top up here. So we know that 60 minutes is equal to an hour. So minutes cancel out and we're left with mLs per hour. So what are we going to do? We're going to multiply straight across. All right, so we're going to do 20 times 250 times 60, and that's going to give us 300,000. And then we're going to do 1,000 times 50, which would give us 50,000. So we're going to do 300,000 divided by 50,000, and we should get 6 mLs per hour.